¿Estoy a la estación o estoy en la estación? ¿Pon los platos a la mesa o pon los platos en la mesa? I admit, knowing when to use en and a in Spanish is not easy, especially because a is such a big preposition we use for a lot of things. So that if you learn these chunks, you'll know you're getting it right every time. I'm Spring Spanish teacher Maura, and here is chunk número 1. Número 1. En versus a. The biggest difference. Estoy en la piscina versus voy a la piscina. If we use English as a base, we can say that en is often translated as in and a is often translated as to. In Spanish, you can think of en for everything that means inside and a for everything that requires movement towards something or somewhere. That's why you'd say estoy en la piscina to mean you're inside the water, and voy a la piscina to say you'll move or go towards the pool. You have to understand that the verb is the preposition's master. This means, dependiendo del verbo, se usará una u otra preposición. Understanding this will help you use it in your favor. For verbs of movement, use a. For verbs of placement inside something or somewhere, use en. For example, verbs of movement. Corre al supermercado y compra hielo. Sube a la terraza y trae 2 sillas. El perro salió al jardín esta mañana. Verbs of placement inside something or somewhere. Estoy en la casa, puedes venir. Vivimos en un planeta maravilloso. Pon la ensalada en la nevera. Remember, you don't even have to learn the rules. Just learn these chunks and you'll sure be using them correctly every time. Además, antes de pasar a la siguiente sección, let's quickly review why it is that even if we're talking about en and a, I keep using al. If you need to use el right after the preposition a, like in voy a el cine, just merge the 2 words. Voy al cine. Y eso es todo. With la, it doesn't happen. As you can see here, voy a la panadería. Let's all take a second to rejoice in how simple that was. Now, let's look at some more confusing examples. Sigamos. Número 2. Time. So, el tiempo es definitivamente el terreno más importante que estas 2 preposiciones tienen en común. With time, there's no clear movement or placement, so things become more confusing. As a general rule, use en for bigger extensions of time, like a month. A works mostly with hours, like a la 1 de la tarde. But let's just look at some chunks you can memorize, which will make everything much easier. Time with en. John Lennon nació en 1940. Las vacaciones empiezan en julio. Aquí no hace tanto frío en invierno. Time with a. Nos vemos a las 5:30. El tren sale a 10 para las 8. Tenemos que empezar a las 12 en punto. Antes de que lo olvide, acompáñame hasta el final si quieres conocer un par de expresiones idiomáticas con en y a que nada tienen que ver con estas reglas, pero que son usadas todo el tiempo. Within the day with a and en. During the day itself, there are different moments that correspond to either one or the other. Let's check this little drawing I made for you and go over them together. Está más oscuro en la madrugada. El sol sale en la mañana. Solemos comer al mediodía. Luego seguimos trabajando en la tarde. En la noche nos relajamos. A medianoche es buena hora para dormir. Chunk alert! En punto. Maybe you already know this, but in case you don't, I cannot let the opportunity pass. Muy pocas expresiones en español tienen una sola alternativa. But this is, as far as I know, the only way to refer to this that is not slang. So put it in your pocket and use it anytime you need to be adamant about time. Like, te veo en la puerta de la estación a las 3:30 en punto. For more irreplaceable chunks like this one, make sure to access the link en la descripción to get our free Essential Spanish Chunking Kit. Está especialmente hecho para ti. Número 3. Position. Now, let's go over positions in space. Careful, this is not about places like edificios, ciudades, or áreas, which we already established go with en. This is about whether things are to your right or on the table. For example, use a with left and right. A la izquierda pueden ver el Monumento Nacional y a la derecha los Jardines Reales. Sides. Siéntate a mi lado. La farmacia está al lado de la plaza. Use en with on top of something. Colgamos el cuadro en la pared. Tengo pintura en la cara. Notice how we could usually exchange this en for sobre. This also happens in this context. Cuéntame en qué estás pensando. Número 4. Duration. These two prepositions can talk about duration, but in very different ways. Let's see some examples and understand where the difference lies. Nos vemos en 3 semanas. La veo 3 veces a la semana. El proyecto debe estar listo en un mes. Se hace un proyecto al mes. No le he escrito en 2 días. Le escribo 2 veces al día. In each case, we use en when we're talking about length and or duration. Like, nos vemos en 3 semanas would mean we have to wait that length of time to see each other. Whereas we use a to talk about how often something happens, as in, la veo 3 veces a la semana. Little side note, use the expression a diario to say something happens every day. For example, yo tengo que meditar a diario. Número 5. Transportation. Because I'm sure you've heard this, and again, we use both in the same way but not for the same thing. Let's talk a little bit about transportation. Use a for a pie. Prefiero ir a pie, me gusta caminar. Ellos van a pie al colegio porque les queda cerca. Use en for everything else that is not your body. Me encanta viajar en barco. Es sano moverse en bicicleta. No necesito andar en carro. Nos iremos en tren. Número 6. Useful expressions. Time for those 2 idiomatic expressions. We use this all the time, but it is almost impossible to get to them through the rules we've seen so far. En este momento. We can use this with and for anything. For example, estoy ocupada, no puedo mirarlo en este momento. En este momento, yo diría que sí, pero después te confirmo. Poco a poco. This expression is just as common, and we would use it to say something happens slowly or we are pacing ourselves with something. He ido ahorrando poco a poco y ya casi tengo el dinero completo para el viaje. Estoy muy cansada, pero tengo mucho que hacer, así que iré poco a poco. Quiz. Now, try using what you have learned to fill in the blanks in the following sentences. Hay jugo, la nevera. Necesito que vayas, Sara, a buscarme un paquete. Publicamos un video la semana. El próximo video sale una semana. En and a aren't the only prepositions of place in Spanish. There are others such as de, sobre, and more. But don't worry, if you learn this with chunks too, they become much easier to use. Let's bring Spanish teacher Mariana help you out with that and continue this lesson with her here.